Myself, Dr. S.M. Umar Iraqi. The topic of my lecture is flame photometry, its principles, instrumentation used, and applications. Flame photometry is a spectral technique in which excitation is caused by spraying a solution of the sample in a hot flame. A flame serves effectively as a source of atomic emission lines. It also serves as an absorbing medium for the same lines. Now, flame photometry is concerned with the emission of characteristic radiation. Every element has a characteristic radiation. This is emitted in flames by individual elements, and this is correlated, that is, the emission intensity is correlated to the concentration of the element which is introduced in the flame. In short, the technique is concerned with those particles that are electronically excited in the medium. Now, let us see the principles on which this technique is based. When a sample is sprayed into the flame, the following phenomena occur in rapid succession. The first step is the sample or the solvent is evaporated. That is, evaporation of solvent takes place, leaving a solid residue. Second step is vaporization of the solid takes place and it dissociates into its constituent atoms. These atoms are initially in the ground state. Next step is, now some of the atoms which are present in the ground state, they may be excited by the thermal energy of the flame. That is, they absorb the energy from the flame and they are excited to higher energy levels, and they attain a condition in which they radiate energies. What happens is the resulting emission spectrum thus consists of lines which originate from excited atoms or ions. The neutral atom spectra are of main interest in flame photometry. The spectra due to ions may be produced at high temperatures and at high concentrations of the atoms in the flame. Now, let us represent it and understand it more clearly. Suppose if E2 and E1, they represent the energy levels of the higher and the lower energy levels. They are representing the energy of the higher and lower energy levels. Concerned, the radiation emitted during this transition can be defined by the following expression: E2 minus E1 is equal to h nu, where nu is equal to c lambda. And therefore, we will have E2 minus E1 is equal to hc upon lambda, and lambda can be calculated by the expression lambda is equal to sc upon E2 minus E1, where E2 and E1 represents the energy of the higher and the lower energy levels. Now, from this equation, the one, it is possible to evaluate the wavelength of the emitted radiation, which is characteristic of the element which emits. Let us study the following figure. We have a liquid sample which is aspirated or introduced into the flames. It is represented by Mx. M is a positive ion, X is a negative ion. This liquid sample, on being introduced into the flame, turns in the form of a mist. Next step is this mist gets evaporated and forms Mx, which is a solid residue. This solid residue undergoes vaporization and it turns a gas into gaseous forms. This gas dissociates into its constituent atoms, which can be seen by M plus X. Now, here there are two possibilities. One possibility is that these constituent atoms on thermal excitations may form M star, which goes to higher energy level, and it emits radiation under flame emission. The second step, that it may absorb this radiant energy in the form of h nu, goes to higher energy level, and then again re-emits in the form of fluorescence. The intensity of the radiation corresponds to the amount of element which is present in the flame. The temperature of the flame lies somewhere between 1000 degrees centigrade to 2000 degrees centigrade. Now, the sequence of events which normally occur in flame photometry have been depicted in the figure. Now, let us consider what happens to some of the neutral atoms or radicals formed in the flame. These neutral atoms or radicals may combine to form new gaseous compounds. Now, the fraction of the free atoms that are thermally excited is governed by the Boltzmann distribution, which is given as n star upon n0 is equal to g star upon 0 exponential raised to power minus delta E upon kt. It can be given as equation number 2, where n star is the number of atoms in the excited state, n0 represents the number of atoms in the ground state, g star upon g0 is the ratio of the statistical weights for ground and excited states. Delta E represents the energy of excitation, which can be represented by h nu, k is Boltzmann constant, and T represents the temperature in Kelvin. Now, an increase in temperature and a decrease in delta E will result in a higher value for the ratio n star upon n0. This is the basic underlying principle involved in the flame emission or flame photometry. Now, let us see the instrumentation involved in flame photometry. Flame spectrophotometric procedure requires the following essential apparatus. The first main condition is it should have a nebulizer burner system, which this system must be able to produce gaseous metal atoms by using a suitable combustion flame involving a fuel gas oxidant mixture. The most important thing in this is that the ratio of the fuel gas and the oxidant should be appropriate and optimum. The second requirement is a spectrophotometer system, which includes a suitable optical system. In this optical system, there should be a photosensitive detector and an appropriate display device. Display device is required for the output. The output which we receive from the detector. Now, third important requirement for this is a modulated resonance line source is required. Now, a flame photometer is composed of a pressure regulator, whose function is to regulate the pressure, a flow meter, which monitors the flow rate of the fuel gases, an atomizer burner for exciting the atoms and vaporizing the sample, mirror, slit, an optical system, photosensitive detector, and recorder. Let us see one by one the functions of each of these parts. Pressure regulator and flow meter. Pressure regulator and flow meter are used for the proper adjustment of pressure and flow of gases. For this, double diaphragm and needle valves are used to control pressure. To control gas flow, a rotameter is introduced or inserted in the gas line. Atomizer. Atomizer is an important requirement and is used to introduce a liquid sample into the flame at a stable and reproducible rate. Third requirement and the most important one is that of flame. Flame used in flame photometer should possess the ability to evaporate the liquid droplets from the sample solution, resulting in the formation of solid residue. This has been depicted in the figure which we had studied earlier. This is the very important characteristic, that the flame must be able to evaporate the liquid sample, resulting in the formation of solid residue. The flame should decompose the solid into atoms. The flame must have the capability to excite the atom and cause them to emit radiation energy. Flame temperature is the primary reason or primarily responsible for the occurrence of above processes, and the temperature of the flame is controlled by the type of fuel used, type of oxidant, fuel to oxidant ratio, type of solvent, amount of solvent entering into the flame, type of burner used, and the particular region in flame which is to be focused into the entrance slit of the spectral isolation unit. That is the point, that is the specific region which we need to focus. Next important requirement is the mirrors. The radiation from the flame is emitted in all directions. However, we need to channelize it into a particularly in one direction. Now, in order to increase the amount of radiation entering or reaching the detector, a concave mirror is set behind the burner. Next requirement is slits. The entrance slit, that is the point where the radiation enters, is kept between the flame and the optical system. This slit permits the radiation from the flame and the mirrored reflection of the flame to enter the optical system. Another important requirement is optical system. This optical system functions both as a collector and monochromator. That is, it collects and it provides a monochromatic light and focuses it on the photosensitive detector. The light is focused on the entire detector with the help of a concave mirror by adjustment of the flame. Next requirement is the photosensitive detector. Photosensitive detector employs photomultiplier tubes as detectors, and they are equipped with amplifier units to boost the output. Applications. Applications. Flame photometry finds applications both in qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis. An important application of flame photometry in qualitative analysis is that it is used to detect lithium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. These elements can be detected visually by the color of the flame, color in the flame. For example, sodium produces yellow flame, etc. Another important application of flame photometry is in the biological fluids and tissues. With the help of flame photometry, we can read or we can understand the incidence of pathological disturbances. That is, in other words, flame photometry provides the first insight into pathological disturbances. Analysis of sodium in biological fluids is a perfect example which is done with the help of flame photometry. Third, another application of flame photometry is in the petroleum industries. Petroleum products such as tetraethyl lead and manganese in gasoline can be determined easily by flame photometry. This is a very important quantitative application of flame photometry. Next application is in the cement industry. Flame photometry is used for the determination of oxides of sodium and potassium in cement samples. That is, the percentage of Na2O and K2O in cement samples can be exactly calculated, accurately determined using flame photometry, as these two compounds are very important in cement manufacture. Another important application of flame photometry is in metallurgy. Flame photometry is used to determine the presence of alkali and alkaline earth metals in catalysts, alloys, and high purity metals. Thank you.